Hi guys, this is X from X's Toy Universe, and I just wanted to do a quick comparison between the two Alpha Trions I have. One is the ATF or AoFeng Toys Titanium Saint right here on the left, and the other is the Cyberverse Ultra Class Alpha Trion over here. Now both of these are roughly Voyager scale if you were to compare them to a regular Transformer scale. But as you can see, the AFT one or Titanium Saint is more on the smaller Voyager scale or Voyager side, while the Cyberverse one is on the larger side. Now the thing about these is this one's pretty hard to get now. This one's pretty easy to get, but the thing is neither of them are, the greatest options when it comes to Alpha Trion. I think I would still say that for most folks, the new Alpha Trion Orion pack set might be better for you guys. But if you wanted an alternative, these two would be pretty good. And to be honest, for me, these are better than the Alpha Trion that came in the 2-pack for a couple of reasons, which I'll detail later. Now for these two figures, the AFT one has a lot more articulation. So yeah, as you can see here, you've got a ball jointed head, you've got a universal joint here, elbows move up and down. Actually, it's double jointed because of the transformation. You can move the wrist 180 degrees as well. Now the fingers, well, all 4 fingers are on a single joint. No ab crunch or anything else like that. And then you've got a universal joint for the feet as well. So yeah, there you go. It acts a little bit like a ball joint, but it's not. So there you go. So it's pretty well articulated, to be honest. If I wanted an Alpha Trion that does a lot of poses, this would be pretty great. But the thing is, Alpha Trion doesn't really pose too much, so I would probably put him in a position that's kind of regal or whatever, but I won't have him do a lot of action poses or whatever. But you can if you wanted to. Now the thing about the Ultra Class Alpha Trion from Cyberverse is he can't really do much, to be honest. There's not a lot in terms of there's not a lot in terms of articulation here. It's really just his arms that could move. So there you go. Now the thing about both of these Alpha Trions is there's a bit of articulation when it comes to the cape. So the cape can be folded inwards a little bit like this on the AFT one, or you can have it straight like this. But I wanted it to act more like a soft goods cape, so that's why I had it a bit inwards like this. There you go. And then for this Alpha Trion, the Ultra Class, you can fold the cape inwards a little bit if you wanted to. Now the action feature does tend to want to pop out, but there you go. So yeah, now the design of this Alpha Trion, the AFT1, is G1 inspired, pretty accurate to the source material, while this one is based on the Cyberverse cartoon. So both of them are accurate to how they looked in either show. And if I'm not mistaken, neither show also had an alt mode for either of these toys, but since this is Transformers, they're both given alt modes for their transforming toys. Now in terms of plastic quality, this one feels a lot more like, it's a third-party Transformer, right? But this one feels more like a mainline in terms of the plastic that was used. Yep, so there you go. And this one's a bit of the more economy type plastic used in the cheaper Cyberverse figures, but very solid. However, there's a lot of hollowness Although in his case, it's really just the back of his feet. If you're just gonna display him like this, which I've had him for the longest time, he's fine. And now in terms of accessories, he has 5mm hands, 5mm pegs on his hands rather, so he doesn't have any problem holding accessories. So here I have Dr. Wu's staff. If I'm not mistaken, this was upscaled from a Legends class figure. So just plugging in like normal, and yeah, he's able to handle the staff no problem. So there you go. Pretty good. Now the thing about this Alpha Trion is his hands aren't really 5mm compatible. They tend to be, it's kind of his own thing. So yeah, if you're gonna put stuff on his hands, it's gonna be a little bit tougher to have him hold stuff, but he can manage. For example, I'm putting the Dr. Wu staff on his hands, you know, the thinner rather, part of the peg, so he's able to manage that. But if I put it on the 5mm portion, it's a bit harder. But with some support, you can kind of finagle it in such a way that he can still see. I'm in front of the camera, so it's difficult. But if you do finagle it a bit, yeah, you can have him hold the staff as well. The cool thing about this, and something that this guy can't do, is that this Alpha Trion can actually hold on to this staff with 2 hands. Of course, because you've got friction from both hands, then you're able to lock it into a certain pose that the Cyberverse one can't do. So there you go. Pretty neat. So this is I'm fine with having 2 Alpha Trions because I have 2 Team Ultra Magnuses. So 2 of each character is fine for me, which is why I'm completely okay with having different versions of Alpha Trion. Now, we have another accessory here, the Dr. Wu sword, which is basically just a replica of the Titan's Return sword. And he has a little bit of difficulty holding it. I mean, he can hold it like that, but if you're gonna have him hold it like a sword, the way swords are held, he's gonna have a bit of a problem because of the fact that these are not, well, yeah, I guess you can do that, but see, it falls off way too easily. So he's not a warrior, so there you go. But of course, this guy has no problem holding that sword because of his 5mm port hands. So yeah, he can handle the sword just fine. The only problem is that can't really pose with the sword too much. I usually have him holding the sword in a downwards position like this. There you go, very regal. And that's how I usually have him posed when I have him hold the sword. But otherwise, yeah, that's how it's gonna go. So you might notice that this one there's a bit, you know, of looseness whenever I try to pose him. It's not too much of a bother, to be honest. But the thing is, I think it's just really because I'm in front of the camera and everything's harder. But otherwise, he's fine. Now let's go ahead and transform both of them. I'm not gonna go show the transformation anymore, but we're just gonna compare alt modes. Alright, so these are the alt modes for both Alpha Trions. So as you can see, both of them are pretty regal battleships. So this is a Cyberverse 1. And this is the AFT-1. I actually really like both modes. The thing about Alpha Trion is this character, in most media, he doesn't really have an alt mode. So they're basically just making stuff up. Which is fine, you know, because this is Transformers, like I said. So yeah, both of them managed to make pretty decent Voyager scale alt modes. And to be honest, I'm a big fan. Okay, let me just do a camera angle from the top down real quick. So yeah, so that looks. There you go. Now, both alt modes have their share of problems, to be honest. So in this particular one, the AFT-1, not everything tabs together. So if you're not a fan of stuff just kind of folding over other stuff, then yeah, this is gonna annoy some people. But for me, I'm okay with it. And for some reason, I didn't manage to. Yeah, there you go. Okay, but otherwise, yeah, it's a pretty decent alt mode. I like it. And for this one, the problem is really there's this just weird flat surface here, and it's pretty much hollow at the bottom, so that is pretty weird. But the nice thing is that this has action features. So yeah, if I go ahead and tug on this, well, not tug on it, push on it rather, then it's gonna release those energy cannon blaster things. Yeah, overall, I really like these two, and they both have a place in my collection. In case you're wondering why I didn't just go ahead and get the Alpha Trion from Legacy, which is packed with Orion packs, it's because I prefer unique characters to have unique alt modes as well, and I didn't want Alpha Trion to just be sharing a mold with Scourge. So that's pretty much why I ended up getting this one. Although I will probably end up getting Orion packs from that set, just Orion packs, simply because there's really no better Orion packs right now in the market. Anyway, just wanted to show you guys these two, and give you options if you don't want to get the Legacy version. Although I do recommend getting that one, just because it's easier to get compared to this, and it's a lot more accessible to everyone, really. Well, yeah, that's about it, guys. I just wanted to show you all of that. And follow me at x_Paco. If you want to see my art, go into at the_art_x. I'm gonna show the ats in a couple of seconds here. But till next time, peace out.